Hey my good friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today we're looking at the 2021 Mercedes AMG GLE53 Coupe. This is a sporty version of the middle of the range for the Mercedes-Benz SUV line, from the GLA all the way up to the massive expensive G-Wagon. This is right in the middle at just under $100,000. So I'm going to show it to you inside and out. We're going to take it for a drive and I'm going to tell you what I really think. When it comes to styling, I have to say that just like the GLE53S I tested last week, this generation of the GLE is one of the best looking in terms of styling, execution, artistic flair, and athleticism. It just looks right to me. It's not too bulky, it's not too stodgy, it's not too, well, it just looks good. So we'll just go there. I'm not going to try to opine much more than that. A nice sharp front end, very bold, big giant grille. This has the AMG vertical slat grille, AMG logo on the front. Headlights on this, of course, they're LED and they're fully adjustable and self-leveling as you drive along. They have a great looking signature at night and they work very well. The lower fascia, AMG, goes along with the sport packaging we have here. On one side, just behind that fascia, is the intercooler for the turbocharged engine we have here. Wheels on this are optional. These are 21-inch AMG wheels, and along with those wheels, the body cladding on this is body color. It wraps around the fender lips, down the side, and just gives us a nice monochromatic look that goes with the sporty nature of this particular model. When you choose the GLE Coupe over the standard GLE SUV, this is really where the difference comes in. You get the Coupe roofline. Look at that. This is a very sporting fastback roofline that you expect on, well, a coupe. And Mercedes-Benz was one of the first brands out there to make a four-door sedan into a coupe, and also one of the first to really go down the road of making SUVs into coupes. But this is really a look that, while one might say this isn't a practical SUV, this is a really nice, big, tall car. I love the rear rump, the roast, the fanny. It's very planted. It's got a nice proportion to it, I think, and with the design of the taillights and the little lip spoiler at the back, I think it works. I like it. I think it's sexy, frankly. Lower fascia, you can see this has the AMG exhaust system. That is a very loud, adjustable exhaust system. It looks good too. LED taillights, as you'd expect here in this price range. Overall, I think it's just a nice, planted, well-executed look. The cabin of the GLE is one that I really think underscores what you spend the money for here when you move up to Mercedes-Benz, as well as any luxury vehicle. Now, we've got a lot of optional items here, namely the Napa leather seats. Very comfortable. These are fully adjustable, power adjustable. They also have the package that gives us the massaging functions, full heating and ventilation. You'll also notice on the dash that we've got Napa stitched leather on the dash, as well as some beautiful brushed aluminum trim. The dash design is something that I've talked about in Mercedes vehicles before. There are two widescreen displays behind a single pane of glass. One is the infotainment center and nav, the other the instrument cluster. And in this particular vehicle, the way this dash is designed, I find that it looks very integrated and it's pleasing to look at. Some of the vehicles Mercedes builds, it looks like they just sort of pasted this extra piece of glass in. This is a vehicle where I think it fits, although I do wish there was some shrouding here to keep the sun from glaring that during the day in certain instances. But as I sit here and look forward, the steering wheel, an optional steering wheel with the sport controls. Thumb wheels here allow me to change all of the drive mode settings, as well as down here on the console. So there are a variety of ways to do it, but they have light up displays, which are very cool. There are 3 different themes, infinite ways to set that instrument cluster up the way you want it. And I've got sort of a traditional layout, as you can see, with the tach and the speedometer fuel economy in the center. The center console is well laid out. I love the handles, even though I really like to have a traditional shift lever here. These handles give me something to hold on to. In the center, a nice roll top that allows you to reveal your cup holders. There is a wireless charger down there, a nice place to put your phone, as well as ports for all of your connectivity. In here, a nicely sized spot. A number of water bottles can fit in here for storage. It's just very nice. And in the package that I've got right now, not only do I have the heated seats, but the center console is heated too. That's very nice for the winter time. Having just reviewed the standard GLE a couple weeks ago, one of the first questions I had when I sat back here in the coupe was, am I going to lose any headroom? And the fact of the matter is while there may be less, I still have about 3 to 4 inches above my head, and I'm about 5'8". And so as I sit back here, since I'm speaking of my height, these seats are set for my height. And as you can see, that gives me plenty of leg room back here. One thing I will note, as you look at the seating position here, this is a bit of a lower seating position. You can see my knees are sort of perched up just a little bit, but for some reason in this vehicle, that doesn't seem like an uncomfortable or unnatural position. I'm actually quite comfortable back here as I sit. This seat does fold down in a 40-20-40 split, and it allows for an almost flat load floor in that cargo area. And even with that sloping roof line, there is plenty of space back here. I think the big difference between this and the GLE is if you had big boxes from the big box store, you might find that that roof line can be a little bit low, but the floor space is virtually identical. Under the floor, a spare tire. Very important to me in a vehicle like this that might take you on a road trip someplace far away where there are no bars. You don't want to have to call a tow truck if you cut a tire open. Overall, I think the main thing to bring home about this interior is workmanship, materials, and quality. This is what you spend the money for. This interior gets 5 out of 5 stars. The infotainment system in this vehicle is the top of the line. I've got the Burmester sound system, which sounds absolutely wonderful. I can't tell you how worth the money this is. It's right up there with a Mark Levinson, if not better. That's from Lexus, and it really just, it makes you feel like if you spent the money for it, you got your money's worth. There are a variety of different menus and ways that you can get what you're looking for. You can set your stations in different ways. There are touch swipe controls that really allow you to get creative with that, I think. Lots of different menus. The graphics are absolutely beautiful. The only thing I'm really missing here is a traditional volume knob and a tuning knob that I just find more intuitive than trying to find all the other various ways of handling those very simple tasks. But this system, really one of the best in the business. I'm very pleased with it. 4.5 out of 5 stars. All right, my friends, let's go for a quick test drive. One of the first things I like to talk about is what's under the hood. Now, the GLE has a lot of different engines available. This is the inline-6 3-liter turbocharged engine, the more powerful of the two, the AMG version. 429 horsepower, 384 pound-feet of torque, and this is actually a mild hybrid. There's an electric motor generator built into the engine that offers up an additional 21 horsepower and 148 pound-feet of torque that can be used occasionally on demand when it's needed, but it also acts as a mild hybrid, which offers a lot of different benefits to the overall operation of this engine, and I've got a separate video at the end that goes deep into a technical dive about all of those things. It's definitely worth a watch, and a lot more than I can talk about here. Because the big question I really like to always ask when it comes to a vehicle is, how does it go? Woo! Listen to that. Oh, yes. Did you hear that? This engine has such a beautiful sound, just a beautiful sound, and that's an inline-6 for you. Listen to that. And 100. We didn't do 0 to 60, but we're up to 100 here on the back road. This absolutely sounds beautiful. I could do this all day long, but I can't do this all day long. So this has plenty of power. This 9-speed automatic transmission works absolutely phenomenal. It's always right where you want it. Its shifts are crisp. They work well. And the fact that this has an idle start-stop system, and I haven't complained about it, should tell you something. Because of the ISG, the integrated starter generator motor, this has an idle start-stop that's lightning quick. It also offers motive power right off stop, and it's almost like it's not even there. So I'm not complaining about it. That, with the refinement of this engine and the power and the sound and all of the things, has me very impressed. And efficiency too, 18 mpg city, 23 highway, and 20 mpg combined. Cattle guard. In my week with it, I've actually achieved 21, so a little over what was promised, so I'm very impressed. So powertrain gets 4.5 out of 5 stars. We're out here on one of my favorite back roads, and the reason I like to test vehicles on it is because this pavement is actually pretty rough, which means it's noisy. It gives me a good idea of how well isolated this cabin is from road noise and wind noise when I'm at speed. And what I'm finding here is, even though this is noisy pavement, the acoustic package here in the GLE has made this a very quiet environment. And wind noise, even with this glass roof, is very low. But more important than any of those things is the quality feel that I've got here. This is a very tight chassis, and with the Airmatic Mercedes AMG ride control suspension that I've got here, this is a vehicle that you can tune to a nice comfort setting, and you can dial it all the way up with the drive modes to Sport Plus. I have it on Sport, which is a nice sort of almost middle of the road feel for this, but it's completely adjustable, and it also has roll control, so when you toss it into a corner, it can counteract body roll quite a bit. I really like it. It's got a high quality feel you expect in a German vehicle, and when you toss it into a corner, whew, it just works. This gives you a level of confidence, and it has reflexes that belie its tall stature and its very heavy curb weight. The steering has a great feel, and again, when you put it into a corner, this thing just really rewards you. Cattle guard. So I'm very impressed with the chassis. It gets 5 out of 5 stars. Now's the time when we try to put a value score on the vehicle we're testing here at Test Driven TV. Here we have a base price of $76,000 and some change, with a as tested price of $95,000 and a little bit of change. About $24,000 in options, which is a pretty good stack in my opinion. But that said, looking at all the metrics we have here, I think this scores very well. It's well made, it's well designed, well engineered. It drives well. It's got all of the reasons you spend the money. Yes, they're sticking it to you just a little bit on the pricing, but so does BMW, so does Range Rover. Anyone in this arena is going to do that. You're probably not greatly worried about money if you're buying this thing, in the sense that somebody looking at a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla might be measuring every cent. You're probably not doing that here, right? Nonetheless, I think value comes in at a pretty good score. When you put that in with everything else we've already talked about, we're in a 4.5 star out of 5 review. Excellent. And best yet, this goes on my buy list. I like it. I like it that much. If I were buying right around a $100,000 SUV, I would choose this because it's just a nice package. It drives nice and comfortably, yet you can have a fast, fun time in it. And well, it's just nice. It's just nice. How can I say it any better than I've already said it? So there you are. Now, if you want more information on this wonderful little gem of an engine that's in this, the M256, there's a video right here that goes into a full technical outline. Or if you want to know about the GLE53S, the faster version, click down there and see the video on that review. Either way, stay tuned.